Hi everyone, Sammy Flair here. Welcome back to Bolt Action, the series where, for the first time this season, not only do the Lightning win a game, but I have to re-record this video. You see, last night I recorded the video in its entirety with the intention of waking up this morning, editing it, and then putting it out on YouTube. Lo and behold, my computer decided that roughly half of that video was not worthwhile to keep, so here we are. It was a good one too. I'm actually a little upset about that. I really liked making that video, but now nobody gets to see it. Whatever. Let's get to the real reason we're here for this video. For the first time this season, the Tampa Bay Lightning come away with a victory, 4-3 over the Boston Bruins on the road. I think they said on the broadcast, and I didn't go and look this up myself, but it was something ridiculous like the Lightning had not been 0-2 for the last 18 seasons or something like that. Certainly not under John Cooper's tenure. Oh yeah, and I'm trying to figure out what my tradition will be for every time the Lightning win a game this season. I left this out from last night. You can kind of see the residue. I decided to take a shot of some blue liquid. It was blue curacao. That was a bad decision. It did not taste good. But it is 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, so I'm not going to do that. Now, listen, I am not going to complain about a win. They don't ask how, they ask how many. But I feel like if we don't pay attention to the question of how this time, we miss the fact that this was that close to being a full crash out video because the Lightning fall to 0-3. There are plenty of things to be excited about from this game. How about the depth scoring? Anthony Cirelli, 2 goals. Yanni Gourde, 1 goal. Pontus Holmberg gets himself a goal as well. How about Jonas Johansson getting himself his first win of the season, getting a win on the board before Andrei Vasilevsky did? Didn't have that on my bingo card. There was the fact that the Lightning looked dominant again in the first period. They came out hot and they started strong. There's the fact that the Lightning scored 4 goals on 12 shots. And it's not the first time this season that they've done that. They can score at will. They just need to shoot the puck. But there are plenty of things to be upset about and concerned about from this game as well. Namely, you once again had a 4-1 lead a few minutes into the second period, and you almost coughed that up multiple times. There was the fact that in the final 2 minutes or so, when you have an empty net to shoot at, you flubbed that shot a number of times. You flub passes a number of times in an attempt to put the game away. You turn the puck over multiple times to the Bruins and give them the opportunity to score. I thought I was watching that San Jose Vegas game from a couple nights ago, and I was ready to just go ahead and throw my jersey in the trash. I'm kidding. I wouldn't actually do that. I think I'm just channeling how I think a San Jose Sharks fan might feel. Look, you're on the first half of a back-to-back, a road back-to-back, your first of 2 road back-to-backs this week alone. So I'm going to try not to complain too much, but guys, all right, before we get into the complainy bits though, let's talk about what actually led up to this game. The Lightning lost a heartbreaker in game 1 against Ottawa at home, and then they just got shellacked by the New Jersey Devils in game 2. A game that saw John Cooper throw all of the lines in a blender in an attempt to just jumpstart something, anything, literally anything. And that actually continued on from the New Jersey Devils game, because these are the lines right here that Coop decided to ice. Hagel, Point, Kucherov on the top line, not terribly surprising. You just move Gensel down. Gensel, Cirelli, Gonsalves, okay, not a terrible line. Gage Gonsalves might be a little bit high, but let's see how it works. Holmberg, Gourde, and Bjorkstrand on the third line. And then Chaffee, Geeky, and Douglas on the fourth line. That actually makes a lot more sense than having Mitchell Chaffee be higher in the lineup, in my opinion. So I do like that combination. But what I was actually confused by with these is the defensive pairings that got iced. I made a note last game that JJ Moser was coming off of suspension, and my thought was that he was going to be replacing Maxwell Crozier on the blue line. But as you look down these defensive pairings here, you have Hedman and Moser. Okay, I like it. McDonough and Chernak. That's a pair you're probably not breaking up the rest of the season. And you have Lilleberg and Crozier. For those of you that may be paying attention, that means that the odd man out here is actually Darren Radish. This is the same Darren Radish that quarterbacked power play number 2, and also the same Darren Radish who got burned a handful of times in the first 2 games. There was no official reason given nor an announcement made as to why Darren Radish was scratched, but I think I can hazard a guess, and it's because he's been stinky poo-poo the first 2 games. Moldy chicken breast in a Tupperware, clogged toilet after 2 a.m. Taco Bell, public landfill under the Texas sun level of stinky poo-poo. And the perplexing thing about all of this is it's Darren Radish. Like, he's not a bad defenseman. They wouldn't have him quarterbacking power play number 2 if he was a bad defenseman. I don't know, maybe the guy was in his own head. I tend to give benefit of the doubt, especially when you are playing for the team that I favor. Maybe he just needed a break. Maybe he needed a mental reset. Maybe he needed to be reminded that there are consequences to poor play. Darren Radish's job is not in any danger right now, at least not in my opinion. But, you know, if it helps give some motivation, then yeah, scratch him for a few games. That said, I don't think Maxwell Crozier is the answer, so I really hope that Darren Radish gets his act together sooner than later. And unfortunately, it didn't matter what the defensive pairings were. We still saw the same breakdowns that we've seen in the first 2 games thus far. And it's incredibly frustrating to witness this because, again, you have a 3-goal lead. It is 4-1 within what, the first 5 minutes of the second period, and you let Boston back in? I feel like I'm Bill Murray in Groundhog Day here. I feel like nobody else understands that this is a repeated issue, that the Lightning do not show up in the second period, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why. The level of play drops off frustratingly, noticeably, dramatically. And thank goodness they actually had a lead going into the third period this time, because they were this close to surrendering another goal and potentially sending this game into overtime. Now, I would have been happy if they had got a point out of it, but I would have been so mad if they had dropped another dumb game. And the hell of it is that this is another game where the Lightning could have scored even more than 4 goals. They had plentiful opportunities to run out and score, but they just didn't. They had plentiful opportunities to simply shoot the puck instead of passing it around looking for your prime opportunity, and they didn't. So, again, I sound like I'm complaining. I sound like we just lost, but we didn't. Okay, reset. You want to know how I know that I'm justified in feeling this way right now? It's because John Cooper visibly feels like this as well. Can I show you something? I'm just going to let this video play and you can decipher what it is that he's saying. And by the by, he's not asking his team what the Fox actually says. Context matters. So what's the context of that clip? Well, the Lightning had just gone up 4-1 within the first 4 minutes of the second period, looking dominant as ever. And then 2 minutes later, they allow one of the dumbest, the most irresponsible, one of the laziest goals that I've seen them allow in a long time. And it's not just that they allowed another opponent player to get behind them and get free and clear and take a wild shot. It's not that they allowed, I don't know, David Pastrnak to do that. They didn't allow Casey Middlestat to, and Pavel Zacha. All the people that come to your head, it's not them, I promise. The person that scored this goal is Jordan Harris. And if you don't know who Jordan Harris is, you're probably forgiven for that. Because Jordan Harris is a third-pair defenseman who has scored a grand total up to this point of 9 goals in his 5 years in the league. 9 goals in 5 years. That was number 10 right there. You are not allowing a premier skater to get in behind your defense and create a scoring opportunity. You are not allowing an elite goal scorer to put a snipe on net like nobody else can. You surrender that to a third-pair defenseman who has scored 9 goals in 5 seasons. So yeah, I think John Cooper and myself are both justified in asking what kind of fudge the team wants there. This team, through the first 3 games, is so perplexing to me. On the one hand, they show the potential to be a lights-out division winner, compete for the Stanley Cup style of team. They have elite scoring talent, elite skating talent. They have playmakers. They can get out and they can get to a fast start. They may not be the biggest or most physical team. It's something they're trying to change. But all of the pieces are there. Again, they scored 4 goals on 12 shots, and it's not the first time that they've done that this season. They have one of the best goaltenders of our generation in net, and yet they have allowed him in back-to-back games to surrender, 4 goals each because they can't play any damn defense in front of him? And it's not even that you have bad defensemen. You still have Victor Hedman, perennial Norris candidate. You have Ryan McDonough, who I'm convinced is going to donate his body, not to science when he dies, but he's going to donate his body to any NHL defenseman who just wants to block some more shots in their career. You have Eric Chernak, an incredible shutdown presence on your blue line, and you have a handful of young, promising, talented defenders like J.J. Moser and Emil Lilleberg who are actually willing to throw the body, be physical, and pick some fights with people. This is a team that outwardly says it prides itself on disciplined hockey, and yet, through 3 games, they're averaging 15 penalty minutes taken a night. The pieces are there. The potential is there. We saw it on full display. 2 of the first 3 games, you had a 3-goal lead, and you surrendered it. This is the time to make those mistakes. This is the time where you want to break out of old habits and create new habits, because whatever you form for yourself habitually in October is going to carry you into November and December and January and beyond assuming that you do make it far enough to get into the postseason. And this is where I throw up my hands and admit I don't have the answer to this, because I am not a hockey coach. I am not a hockey player. I am simply a fan, and I can see with my eyes and therefore brain what is happening on the ice. These guys have got to get it together. I don't understand why they can't put together a complete effort. It was a problem last season. It's already been a problem this season. And going into the second half of a back-to-back on the road against Washington, I don't know what version of this team we're going to see. My sincere hope is that they're going to take this as motivation and say, look, we can do it. Now let's fix all the other nonsense that we've been very bad at recently. Oh, and by the by, because I do want to end this on a positive note, I want to give a shout out to Pontus Holmberg, who not only got his first assist as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning, but also got his first goal as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. If you have the opportunity, I strongly recommend that you go look up the Yanni Gourde goal that Pontus Holmberg assisted on. And it's because it was actually incredibly aware of him. Off a turnover from the Boston Bruins blue line, Pontus Holmberg finds himself alone in front of Joonas Korpisalo. He has some Boston Bruins defender bearing down on him from behind. I don't know who it was, but he has nobody on either side of him. He is free and clear to shoot this puck. However, what he does is a nifty little spin move, just gives a light little pass over to Yanni Gourde, who has as wide open of a shot as you can possibly get. Hang on, I can show you this in pictures since I can't show you the actual video. This is the look that Holmberg has as he's coming in on Joonas Korpisalo. It would be decently easy enough for him to attempt a backhand over the glove of Korpisalo. However, I don't even know how he's aware that Yanni Gourde is here at this point. Did he yell at him? Does he have an earpiece in? Does he have radar on his visor? But he gets both the defender and Korpisalo to bite hard on this move. And just, oh, that pass, that open cage. Yanni Gourde is not going to miss that one. Just molto bene. It was the kind of play that you usually expect to happen from a top six forward, and I am so thrilled that it happened from a depth line. His goal was also very good, but it was much more of a right place, right time kind of thing rather than him just pulling that move out of his ass. You got your first win under your belt. You're back on the road in DC tomorrow playing the Caps. Vasi is back in net. The boys are going to be tired. I'm aware of this. I guess we'll find out what team actually shows up, but I am super hopeful that I'm going to get to record another victory video tonight/tomorrow. But that's it. That's all I got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving me just a little bit of your time. I hope that I get to come back to you tomorrow and the Lightning are a solid 2-2 and that all of my concerns have just melted away because, I don't know, they've been watching my YouTube channel. I'm not that delusional. But until I see you again, remember, go Bolts, and please, for the love of all that is holy, play a whole damn 60 minutes!